Well, this is an interesting story. I saw it trending a couple of times this morning.
Is this the lady from the Retrievers?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yes. Well, let's just introduce her now that we talked about her. She's there right now. Devon Thomas Treadwell, co-founder of the Retrievers, is with us in KFGO. Hi, Devon.
Hi.
How are you today?
I am doing okay.
Okay, so before we get to Marshall County in Minnesota, I actually have been seeing the Retrievers come up in a lot of stories around Minnesota, and I read a whole story on your organization not that long ago. So if people aren't aware of what the Retrievers is, why don't you tell them a little bit about it?
Sure. We are a team of about 20 people now. Most of us are located in the Twin Cities area, although we do have some in outlying areas like Crookston and Rochester and Deer River. We are all volunteers, and it's a nonprofit 501c3 organization. And our mission is to help owners and rescues bring in their lost dogs, find their lost dogs, and also to bring in strays safely. So those are kind of the two prongs of our mission.
Yeah. Are you the guys who were a part of the plan to retrieve, what was that, Kentucky, that dog in Fargo a few weeks ago or a few months ago?
We were on that case too, yes.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
interesting.
That dog is living happily ever after,
yeah.
By the way.
Yes, we didn't actually trap it. Right. Someone else did, but we're glad however they come in.
Yeah, you were on the way, though.
Yeah, we were on it.
Very cool. Now, this story out of Stephen, Minnesota, what do you know of that dog, by the way?
Well, we know that he was hanging around for months before we got involved, including, the entire bitter winter that we had. He was frequently seen at on a particular block, and so we got involved in May, and we sent our volunteers from Crookston up to attempt to capture Dodger, and it was challenging. I mean, we knew he was skittish, but the first thing we tried was to kind of convert a dog kennel that was there on the premises into a trap by putting a gate that would fall down and close. And there was one misfire with that trap, and for reasons that are too complicated to explain. But Dodger then decided that no trap was for him, and we also had some complications with some of the well-meaning neighbors feeding him outside of the trap, and that kind of eliminated any motivation for him to go in it. So it was a very challenging case, especially not being right there in Stephen and having, our volunteer an hour away. So he was very smart, very trap shy. The day that we learned that he had been shot, our volunteer was actually calling the residents there and saying, hey, I'm bringing a different style of trap. It's a drop net. Let me know if it's okay to bring it. And that's when we learned that, don't bother. The dog's been shot. So, we were still on the case, still trying everything we could to bring Dodger in safely. For all we knew, he was a lost dog from somewhere. We didn't know anything about him. We didn't, we wanted to bring him in and scan him for a chip and all of that.
Well, and evidently, according to accounts I have read, he wasn't the friendliest dog. And in fact, there were some people who were a bit skittish of him because he had advanced toward them, evidently growling, and so he wasn't.
Well, anytime you have a dog that's living on their own, they're in a constant state of insecurity, and so bringing him in and putting him in a stable environment was really the thing to do.
Well, as you said, the dog was shot by Marshall County Sheriff's Office officials last Thursday, and they said that they had received complaints about the dog and said they had to do something. Do you think that more could have been done, or did they take the right action?
Well, I wish that we had been notified before they did it, because we did have this other drop net trap that we were going to deploy. And we felt very good about our chances of catching him. So if we just had another, few days on that to try that net, it could have made a difference. But we were not notified ahead of time.
How often does this happen? Do you think?
How often are you called upon to rescue a stray?
Periodically. I think maybe 25% of our cases, maybe less now, because so many owners and rescues have found us. And so we're really kind of getting slammed. We've had over 100 cases so far this year. But strays are a minority at this point of our caseload.
Well, what are the majority then?
The majority would be rescues and owners who've lost their dogs.
Oh.
Many dogs go missing when they've transferred into a new living environment. And so you've got fosters losing dogs. You've got newly adopted dogs that bolt. They are insecure in a new environment. They haven't bonded yet to the owner. And so they are very vulnerable to taking off and going missing.
So I guess the first question you would ask is, where did you get this dog? And then they would say, well, I got him from place in Glendon. So you'd probably want to head toward Glendon or something.
You're right. We do like to know, how long has the dog been in your home and where did it come from?
Did I read somewhere where there are efforts being made to get Dodger to find out if he's been chipped?
Yes. Our volunteer went up there on Friday, and he had a microchip scanner, and he did scan Dodger and found no chip.
Okay, found no chip. We have a program here on KFGO called The Vet Is In, and she was in yesterday reminding people that if you do have your dog microchip, that you need to be updating that with the company, every time you move, and very often going... I think even for our microchip dog, we even made like a profile, and we can put in some identifying qualities about the dog or anything like that. So I would suggest doing that, as I'm sure you would too, Devon. Those make things a lot easier when you find dogs.
Absolutely. And don't forget, for dogs that you've had for years, I first registered my golden retriever when he was 2, and he is now 11, and he looks quite different.
Yeah.
So go in there and update the photos from time to time.
Mm-hmm. Good idea.
You started a fundraiser for Dodger the stray, and are you going to arrange for the dogs to be retrieved or anything like that?
He has, yes. We our volunteer Brian from Crookston picked him up on Friday, and he is now in Crookston awaiting cremation.
This is a good point. Do you have volunteers throughout the state that you keep in contact with, or if people want to volunteer with your organization to be a point person in Minnesota, can they do that?
Yeah, the best way to reach us really is through our Facebook page.
Okay.
We are at the Retrievers Lost Dog Team on Facebook.
The Retrievers Lost Dog Team, okay.
Right, and you can find us there. You can find information about our organization. Donate if if the spirit moves you. And yes, we are always looking for people who are dedicated to, putting in, frankly, quite a bit of time, because all of our case managers can spend a great deal of time on any one case. And you never know when one comes up that's going to be an emergency, that you've got to go out in the middle of the night. Sometimes our case managers will sit all night long in their vehicle waiting for a dog to go into a trap so that we can secure it immediately after it gets captured. So it's quite a demanding volunteer position, but if someone has a passion for lost dogs and they're interested in joining us in that kind of capacity, we would love to hear from them.
And make sure you call KFGO when you're out and about looking for a dog. Of course, we have what's called Pet Patrol here on KFGO. We're a 24-hour station. Someone's always manning the phones here, and we will take your lost and found dogs and cats and anything else, and we'll put it on our website and broadcast it on KFGO. Everyone who lives around here is very familiar with Pet Patrol on
Wonderful.
KFGO. I think we even reunited horses not that long ago with their owner.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And we've kind of hooked up with Fargo-Moorhead Lost and Found Pets on Facebook as well. Mm-hmm. So we have good luck getting dogs back. And I'd not heard of you until you helped get Kentucky. What was the name of that dog?
Kentucky.
Yeah, Kentucky back home. That was quite a saga we had around here. So, all right. We got your number now. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Devon Thomas, co-founder of the Retrievers.